Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to start on pulling the engine out of the Civic and get it ready. First things I'm going to do is get this thing up on the jack stands and start pulling the wheels off. I think the way I want to approach this is to pull the axles and drain the fluids out, AC, coolant, and oil. So you don't need to see all that, so we'll skip ahead. But right now, she's still sitting on the ground. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be this week's project. I decided to try to do one project at a time each week. So this week will be, prepping the engine. It's after 8 o'clock at night. I worked all day, did things around the house. So we'll work on this for about an hour and take a shower, go to bed, and repeat. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm working on prepping on removing this engine. By prepping, it's removing the header. I gotta get to the axles. I drained the fluids already. I'm gonna flip you around. And I got the upper section of the header off. I gotta undo the 2 bolts at the catback. Radiator's out with the radiator hoses. I removed the AC condenser fan assembly. I took care of removing everything and keeping it in one piece, because I thought maybe I could recoup some money. I talked to one of my good friends, Tech 15, his name's Jeremy. He said the AC systems on these aren't worth anything because you can basically buy all these parts brand new for dirt cheap. Last time I was really big into Hondas in the early 2000s, between 2002 and 2009. I was real big into them, had turbo Hondas, built motor ones, and I've been out of the Honda game for a long time. And they used to be worth some money for AC systems. Well, it's not worth anything, so I still got some more stuff. I gotta take out this dryer and these lines and then the hard lines over here. But what I ran into, which I didn't know until I took the air box out, is I got some substantial rust over here. And I was kind of picking at it, and this is pretty soft. Being that this whole corner, this looks more surface rusty, but this is definitely deeper. I'm gonna have to patch that. I don't want to road race this car. It's getting new motor mounts, so that's not to be an issue. This might be an issue. I want to wire wheel this and check it out. But one of the things I want to do is, once this engine's out, the body itself was rust free, but I'm feeling like this thing saw a lot of salty winters and never got the engine bay washed. Be my guess. But I'm going to have to do some repair on that, so that'll be a future video of trying to kind of fixing up this whole corner over here. This, maybe it was an accident or something and that got fixed, because this side looks way better. Way better. So I don't know. Something happened over here, maybe. I don't know. It looks like it still has the like factory sealer here, so I'm not sure what's going on, but definitely got rusty on this side. We'll have to take care of that. I think tonight I'm going to work on getting these torque mounts off, and then continue on with fuel line, the heater core hoses, and electrical. And to be honest, this is my first EK chassis, 96 through 2000. All my Civics I've had were pre that, so I had a couple EGs and EF. I'm seeing that this wiring harness is different. It looks like it just is one piece, goes all the way into the car. So I'll probably have to get the battery out and get to that wiring loom and pull it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm just going to keep taking things apart. I guess this would be a good time to introduce the garage dogs. This is Havana. She is 11-year-old red-nosed pit. She was rescued. I got her when she was about 7. She's been awesome. She's been with me since I got this car. And then my other dog over here is Charlotte, and she's a little afraid. She's deaf. She's a Dalmatian. She's deaf. She's also rescued. She's coming up to 3 years old, but she's a little skittish. But she's never out in the garage, so that's probably why she's skittish. But I figured I'd introduce you to my girls. She thinks she's in trouble, but she's a good girl too. I got a little heater going because it's cold out. Alright, back at it. So tonight I'm going to try to get the axles out and the shift linkage. The only thing left after those two items is pulling the ECU harness out. So I was debating if do I pop the knuckle, the ball joint on the lower control arm, pull the knuckle to get the axle out. And I think what I'm going to do is, since I'm pulling the suspension off, I'm probably doing the DC Integra suspension on this car. Mainly because this car does not have a front sway bar. And that's something that I desperately will not only want but need on the track. I'm going to try to pick up basically a complete Integra suspension front and rear. That way I can get bigger front brakes, disc rear brakes. So I think what I'm going to do is just unbolt the whole corner of the suspension, take it out as a unit. I'll probably just hang the caliper for now. I will be doing calipers and all that stuff too, but I think for now I'm just going to unbolt the whole suspension. So yeah, let's do it. The girls are out here tonight too. So here's these struts I was talking about. We got stock springs, and then these are DNA struts. DNA are from like wish.com. I think they're on Amazon now. They're really, really cheap. And they're really, really cheap for a reason. So that's why I was thinking maybe this car was slammed at some point. But this whole suspension needs a rework through. This ball joint has seen better days. You know, the rubber's just falling apart. It's actually tight, but before I get on the track, I want to redo the entire suspension. And, you know, I want to switch over to the Integra Type R. The poor man setup with the Type R calipers, the Mini Cooper rotors, and then use DC Integra knuckles and hubs and wheel bearings and all that stuff. Yeah, these brakes were new. There's, you know, no wear on the rotors, but they're rusted to hell. And I mean, this car's been sitting for 3 years now, so it's been a long time. You know, the bushings are pretty much worn out. A thing, I don't know if it's still a thing anymore, but back in the early 2000s, we used to fill these with window weld. You basically just put, I think we used saran wrap or foil on one side, and then you would fill this whole thing in with 3M window weld. And that basically, instead of buying energy suspension bushing inserts, it was a cheap way to do more solid mounts. But, you know, maybe that's something I'll look into, because those girls are not looking so hot. But I'm going to go ahead, and I think what I'm going to do is unbolt the lower control arm from the subframe, including the compliance arm, if that's the actual name for it on this. Unbolt these tie rods, and then I'm going to try to get these upper arms out and take the strut out and just drop this as an assembly. Unbolt this caliper, and I'm going to do is zip tie the caliper, you know, somewhere out of the way, so that way it'll just kind of hang, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to get the light for you. This is the subframe right here. Can you guys see that? Subframe's rusting out. That whole corner. That used to be a thing on some of the cars because the AC drain would always constantly put water down. Is there supposed to be a bolt right there? I feel like there's supposed to be a bolt right there. Well, that's unsafe. So this compliance arm, obviously that bolt, it's probably not bolted very well. It's compromised, so that's going to be an issue. That's going to have to get fixed. There's no fixing that. I'm just going to have to find a subframe. Which, I guess this is the time to do it. Once I have the engine out, then get the suspension unbolted, and then I can unbolt the subframe. Yoy, 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 yoy. Oh, jeez. Oh, that rust. These are bolts for sure to get refinished, because these are probably expensive. Have that company, they remove all the rust and replate them. That would be something to just save some money. Oh, son of a... The bolt's just spinning, so that means whatever nut that's in there, whether it was well, it was welded at one point, it's no longer welded, so that means it's free spinning. Which means I can't get that bolt out without dropping that subframe, so that sucks. Alright, so my next plan, roll with the punches. I'm gonna unbolt this compliance arm from this arm. So this bolt and this nut, and then hopefully I can swing this arm, because this is a stud from here. Hopefully I can swing this and get this off, get that swung out of the way, then the strut will come out once I unbolt it from the top. This transmission, I bought seals, the seal on that side and I think this side, both of them are leaking, causing a mess. So I get this trans out. I'm going to sell this trans. I'll clean it up, put the new seals in it. I don't know what these are worth anymore. You know, if I can get $100 out of it or something like that, that'd be cool. Linkage, gotta get the shift linkage off. Unfortunately, I stacked a bunch of steel under here where the car was sitting. So now I gotta get the steel out of my way. I'm not a small guy, but I think I can climb under there and reach what I need to reach. What a rust bucket. Guess the new channel name of Beater Box is coming to fruition now. Oh my god, so much rust came down. Having a cordless impact is nice, but man, they are heavy and they're bulky. I don't have air, so... And this is what I use at work too. We have air there. I like having no hoses. Whoa. Wow. Gosh. Should always wear your safety glasses. I have the safety squints. That's sweet. Oh, buddy. This side should come off because it's just a nut. And every time you add something between your impact and your socket, you're getting rid of torque. Extensions do the same thing. The more extensions you use, even if you use one, if it's long, it's still eating up torque. So you always want to try to be as short as possible. And this battery sucks, so I'm sure I'm down on power, which is great. Well, that would have been just too easy. Of course. Oh my gosh. So much rust is sticking to the magnet on my light. Rust bucket. That's what this car's going to be called, rust bucket. Fucking rust bucket. That works, right? Sure. Oh no. Yep, something's gonna break. It's gonna be my heart. It's a hammer. I wonder if we can ratchet that thing. Alright, baby. Nope. She's tight. I think the bolt's coming out though. I'll be. I didn't think that was going to come out. One down, one to go. I guess technically 3 to go because I still got to do the other side. Get your lens clean. Alright, so I got this side axle out. I need to do it same thing to the other side. And now there's a wrench on my GoPro. I don't know what that means. I've never seen that before. Is that still recording? I don't know what the wrench meant. I hit something apparently. Axle's out on this side. I gotta do the shift linkage. And basically everything I just did on this side, on the other. No point in showing you guys that because it's repetitive. So with movie magic, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side and get that done. Morning. It's Saturday morning, waking up, and today's going to be the day that I'm going to try to get the motor out. I'm doing it by myself. I don't actually have like help today. I could have probably asked a couple buddies to come over, but I'm just decided I'm going to pull this motor and hopefully get the motor out and I guess I need to get the subframe out as well, and we'll see how far we get, I guess. Alright guys, I got the motor out. A little movie magic, you didn't need to see all that. So, I figured I would show you guys what this week's project's going to be. I found a lot more rust than I thought this car had. So the body was clean, but everything else was not clean. So first things first, the subframe, where the compliance arm connects to the subframe, is rusted out. Even one of the bolts, when I went to remove it to try to get that arm off, it broke the nut loose inside the subframe. So that's not going to be safe for road racing. So I'm going to find another subframe. And I had planned on like switching over to like DC Integra suspension, so I can run like front sway bar. And so I think at this point I'm going to try and find a DC Integra subframe. Carpart.com is probably where I'll look. Maybe look local. This car being in Pennsylvania for most of its life, obviously the rust got to it. There's a lot of this surface rust by all these spot welds. So I don't know, this side of the car is way worse than that side. That side's definitely got some rust. You can see it right there. This side is twice as bad, so I don't know if this side was repaired at some point. But there is this rust hole, this shock tower. So I wanted to fix that, and I think what I'm going to end up doing is cutting this out. Like this like triangular corner. Well, actually I want to go up to here, and just welding in new sheet metal there, because this is a shock tower. This should be like pretty thick steel, like double sheet metal. So it is structure, so I definitely want to get that out, get that fixed. And then with the other lighter surface rust stuff, that's, you know, throughout, you know, this, I want to just wire wheel this all down to bare metal, hit it with some primer, and then paint this. Definitely needs cleaned up. It's, you know, this is a 250,000 mile car, so it's showing it. So some of the other things I want to do is new brake lines. I know I want to do like the rear brake lines. I'm a little confused because the rear brake lines up here look like they're factory bends, like all the way down to there. But underneath the car, they're definitely been replaced at least once. So I need to get in there and see if somebody used like those ferrule like slip unions, which you shouldn't use. You should always flare and use actual bolt-on unions, not the slip fittings. So I'm not sure what's going on with the brake line, so I probably will end up redoing the brake lines anyways. So I need to clean this all up. It needs basically degreased. What kind of sucks is now there's no suspension, so I can't roll this out to wash it. So I want to wash this all by hand. And the other thing I'm thinking about doing is I want to pull these fenders off, pull the headlights out, and to really get in here, I need to get this charcoal canister out. Like, there's no point of that. Heater core, I'm still debating on what I'm doing about heat. So obviously I'm getting rid of the AC. I would like to remove the dash from the car, and with that I might get rid of the HVAC box and go to a simple like a universal heater, to where it's just a box with like a little blower, and I can get rid of like this heat valve. It'll just always have heat going to that heater core. Then, you know, you flip the fan on and you can pull heat or not. The only reason I would keep heat is because I've been to the racetrack before in the fall, where you wake up in the morning and there's actually frost on the windshield. So having the heat is nice to be able to A, thaw out your windshield, and B, like on the colder track days, even in spring when you're at the track at 8 a.m., it's nice to have the heat because your windows are down. So heat is something I'm probably going to keep. As far as the other stuff, I saw Chase Bays. I saw this last night. Chase Bays has a brake booster delete kit now, where it deletes that and it does a 6-to-1 ratio. So it's a pretty nice brake setup. It's like $500, and you have to run their brake lines, which is like another $200. The brake lines is not a problem because I was already planning on replacing them, so that's an option. Right now I'm just trying to figure out, do I want to move over to a brake booster delete? It would clean up the engine bay a bit. It's not something I have to do, so it might be something I won't do just to save some money. But I do need to get this engine bay stripped down pretty far. The washer fluid tank I'm probably just going to delete, and I shouldn't need washer fluid for being on the track. I know there's some aftermarket solutions where it's a smaller tank. Like there's no point carrying a gallon of washer fluid around. So maybe there's something smaller I can use. That could be even something that if I delete the dash, I can mount a little reservoir on the inside of the firewall, and then because there's enough tubing, I can run, you know, that from inside the car, just to kind of free up the engine bay, make it a little cleaner. The motor mounts were pretty rusted. This side is looking not great, so I wanted to really wheel this down and see what's up. Structurally, I think it's still good, but you know, behind this is going to get fixed. That's just a definite, has to get fixed. Yeah, the torque mount, that side fell out when I unbolted it from the engine. It fell out, so that really wasn't doing anything. This side is still hanging in there. I'll probably definitely have to get either new rubber inserts, do energy suspension inserts, or make my own using some window weld. But yeah, so I think that's going to be it for this video. This video was just kind of getting the engine out, and the next video will be cleaning this bay up. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I'm not doing like some show engine bay. I just want it to look nice. I got to figure out color. I don't really want to paint it white to match the body. Right now it's the original factory like silver color. I don't want to do black because black hides stuff. So if you happen to get like a brake fluid leak in the back corner or something, you won't be able to see it as easily. But white shows stuff way too easily. So, you know, with dirt, I don't want it to be like you open it and it looks like this. So I'm thinking I might do like a dark gray. So kind of like what this is now, maybe a little bit darker. I'll just get some rattle cans and we'll get after it once I clean up the rust and do any kind of sheet metal repair. I'm off this week from work, so that's what I plan on doing is I'll probably honestly try to get the subframe out. Might as well get that out because it's no good. Get that out the rest of the way, finish taking off this header, which will be super easy now that I can get in there, and then go from there. So thanks for watching thus far in this project. It's going to be, you know, like I said before, multiple videos. Let me know how you guys like the videos to be filmed. If you just want like time lapse, if you want me to slow down and show more specifically what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video yet. I think I'm just going to kind of make it quick because there's some stuff that you guys you already know how to do or you've already done a million times. It's been a long time since I pulled a Honda motor. It's been a long time since I've been in the Honda game, if you will. And it was pretty straightforward. It makes me miss how simple these cars were compared to the new German cars I work on today. But yeah, so hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow along and keep updated on this stuff, hit the notification bell. But, you know, you have to ask that stuff because people forget. But, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll come back in the next part of hopefully cleaning up this engine bay. But I'll see ya.